Anna Marie and I have been on a world tour of amazing leadership development resources in the last few weeks. We attended the Ninja Leadership, and then quickly, within the very same day, we made it to Orlando in one charge, mind you. We made it to the T3 Summit. After the T3 Summit, we attended the Realty Alliance event, and we were in Memphis where we had some amazing barbecue. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay. But Corey, we also talked about, so in this podcast, we talk about what we learned at all of the conferences. We talked about the importance of Ninja. We also talked a little bit about, or a lot of it about mental health and how Corey takes care of herself, how I take care of myself. So we hope you find some value in what we shared today. This is not the first one. And I hope that Scott cut out all of our good bloopers.
Not happening.
He said that.
So, Anna Marie, we finished Ninja Leadership.
Yes.
What did you think?
First of all, Peter Parnag is amazing.
Isn't he?
Like, he is one of the best instructors. I've sat through a couple of Ninja installations before, and Leadership Institute as well, but I've never sat through one of Peter's classes. Mm-hmm. And it was a really great experience. We had everybody on the leadership team, or that leads a team of people at John R. Wood, were in the room hearing and learning and just being able to absorb all things Ninja and how this can be our operating system for John R. Wood moving forward, making sure everybody on the team knows the principles, has the concepts, and they're also leading by example too.
I think that is particularly my favorite part, the fact that the managers now know exactly what the agents are doing. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they can help them and coach them, that is absolutely phenomenal. And we have a Ninja installation coming up on June 2nd. So we've got some great signups for that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we've got a few surprise guests from companies all over the United States attending with us.
Yes, and we didn't run out like the Hertz Arena. We've only got a limited number of seats. Well, I'm just saying, we only have a limited number of seats, and those are filling up kind of fast. So ideally, if anybody's interested, they need to not wait, to not do the realtor wait.
Right.
They need to go ahead and sign up and get a spot in the room.
So I brought my notes from that, and I think, one of my top takeaways from Ninja Leadership is, I do a lot of reach out to agents. I'm constantly emailing, checking in, calling, texting, and so one of the things that I, really am starting to chat with people about is asking them their biggest challenge of what's going on. And then also I've been randomly calling people that I haven't talked to in a while. So I like to walk that walk because that's the talk track that we have, and so I'm doubling down on that, and I think that's important.
Yeah. So a couple of my takeaways are from the broker team that are in the offices, leading our agents and making sure that they have the resources they need so that they can coach their agents the Ninja way, that they have set up their own good habits because they set the example and they set the standard, for how an agent should act as well to have a successful business, that they're not feeling salesy in, because nobody wants to be sold, but I'm open to buying things, right? So the agents are the same way. So making sure the managers feel confident that they've got what they need to run killer sales meetings and killer accountability and follow-up groups afterwards. But then also taking that over to, the marketing team, the IT team, relocation team, and the other departments within John R. Wood. What are we doing to support agents who this is the path that they want to follow in their business? So if they understand the vernacular and all the words for Ninja, then they can, step in and fill the gap too. So Scott Kelsey was in that class with them, and so if an agent goes, hey, I want to do flow postcards, or hey, I'm interested in doing this, he knows exactly what they're talking about. He knows exactly how to help them. If I want to do low, he can just plug in all those gaps because he knows what they're ultimately trying to accomplish instead of him trying to figure it out. And that's the same for the entire marketing department, relocation, IT, even the admin team, making sure that they can focus on, so the agent stays in their P time and they help with the I and the E time, so that it's the best use of the agent's time, and then it's the highest and best use for our administrative, broker, marketing, relo, all of those teams as well.
All of our support staff,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you brought up Lolo just there,
Yeah.
and you know, obviously I've been a huge proponent of Lolo. I think it is just an absolutely amazing program to stay top of mind.
Agreed.
And that is one of the reasons why, you know, I initially talked about it and loved it, because staying top of mind in a non-salesy way, I think, is very ninja. So that is a ninja piece. So we're having some great success with Lolo in Naples. We are launching in Fort Myers here very soon. I know it's either sometime in the next couple days.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about that. From when you think of Lolo, what do you think of? Like, what's your value proposition for Lolo?
We're a local company, and Lolo is only partnering with locally owned businesses that we want to support. You know, I
Right.
think one of the draws to John R. Wood is that ownership is here, decisions are made from here, it's not a corporate office somewhere else.
Right.
We've been in the community for a really, really long time. We know the owners of a lot of these businesses. Shoot, we might have even sold houses or found a commercial building for some of these business locally.
Right.
Let's show them some support. And, you know, it might not always be something that's interesting to your recipient, but you're still saying, hey, they can still send it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Hey, let's support our local companies. We're going to support you. We want you to support us back. And there's some good synergies around that companies that aren't based in Southwest Florida, they don't even know who they are, right? They don't even know what local, it's not chains. And I think that's important to, you know, building a strong business is supporting those who support you. And everybody wants to know, well, what are the best restaurants to go to, and what's the newest blah, 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 blah that you can go to. And Lolo gives you an opportunity to do that. That's a low lift. It's a really low lift from
Absolutely.
the agent standpoint.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. You know, one of our recent ones was that BRK, or Brick Pizza, and I've had no less than 3 people reach out to me and tell me it was the best pizza they'd ever had.
Awesome.
I couldn't believe it. Mike Dodge told me he's been back 2 other times after they did that.
Huh.
Which
I've heard of agents doing some really cool events. Like they see that the Lolo gift is going to be at Brick Pizza, and then they'll call or text or reach out to their people in like their A contacts that are their close referral partners within their network, and they'll say, hey, I'm going to take, you know, my spouse and the kids, or me and so are going to go on the 24th of the month to Brick Pizza. You just got a coupon. Come and join us. Come and have a beer. Come and have a pizza. Come and have a whatever. And they make it a networking event to get future business and just continue to build a relationship with their people too.
That so one of the things that you know, we heard at Ninja, which was unique and I hadn't heard it before, is marketing is for awareness and relationships are for business.
Yes.
And that is something that really lends itself with Lolo. So it's one of my top takeaways here. So we went right from Ninja Leadership to the T3 event in Orlando.
Yep.
And so T3 Leadership Summit, it's all of the big wigs in the industry. So we heard from Gary Keller, who is I guess the minority owner in Keller Williams now, but think Realtor.com, think Zillow, think Compass, think anything and everything when it comes Real. Yep, Real, Remax, yes. So there's a lot of industry news happening out there right now. So as you know, as our agents are hearing this and as our customers are asking our agents about this, what should our conversation be with our customers about all of this industry news or noise?
So I don't know that outside of our vacuum that the consumer is even really paying attention.
Right.
Potentially they've gotten a postcard from one of the companies that you mentioned that just lays out what they would do to market a house, but that really just steps up, or it gives a softball to our agents to go, that's what they do, but this is how we market your house, and this is the reason why we think, or why our methods are, and why we're doing this. I do think it was, you know, interesting to hear one of the speakers up there who is not from real estate. He did something else before in the tech space, and now he is running one of the mortgage, can I just say it?
Yeah.
Okay. It was Varun,
Yes.
who is the CEO of Rocket Redfin now. And he was one of the early speakers, and he got up and was talking about, you know, the nomenclature was his word choice in our industry, and how, you know, it really doesn't mean anything to outside of this.
Right.
And he envisions a world where a seller could choose to list their house on Tuesday from 9 to 1 and then take it off the market, and then list it again on Thursday afternoon from 4 to 5, and
Right.
then, Saturday, they don't mind having it on the market again, so we're gonna put it back on the market on Friday. And he was talking about how if that was an option for sellers, then everything ultimately is always for sale.
Right.
And so he feels that that is an opportunity to get more houses on the market.
Right.
Corey Remington McCloskey. I don't know that any agent, I'm just serious, I don't know that any agent is gonna say, yes, I'm gonna pay all of this up front.
Right.
Yes, I'm going to,
Right.
invest this type of marketing. Yes, I'm gonna do this, when you're not really sure you wanna sell.
Right.
So I don't know that that does anything to bolster the professionalism, or that seller that wants to choose that route is possibly not gonna get the cream of the crop agent
Right.
for somebody who's non-committal on whether they want to sell their house or not.
Of course. I mean, what agent would want to front all that money up front to maybe get the sale?
Yes. But as you also think about it from just the buyer standpoint,
Oh, yeah.
this is coming on the market next Tuesday, let's go see, oh wait a minute,
Right.
well now it's not on the market anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Well, but hey, now it's back on the market Thursday afternoon.
Right.
Let's go,
Yeah.
it's just that, I don't know. I
Right.
don't know that in the end game
Right.
will do what it needs to do.
Yes.
At that level with those speakers, they are talking, I'm trying to think of who all was on that stage. Outside of maybe Gary Keller, I don't think anybody on that stage has actually ever sold a house before. Has Gary Keller sold a house? I think he sold.
I think so.
So he's the
but-
closest one,
Right.
potentially.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That had ever
Yeah.
actually sold a house before. They haven't walked
Right.
an agent's shoes. They haven't walked our shoes.
Right.
I might even venture to say that most
Right.
of those people up there have never even run an office. They
Right.
haven't been a broker. They haven't been in the trenches where we are every day.
Right.
And so it's easy for them to sit up there and pontificate and pie in the sky about stuff that's just, it's not blocking and tackling.
Right.
It's not what we do every day. I don't think they're thinking about the agent.
Right.
I think they're thinking about how to add to
Mm-hmm.
and make shareholders happy in a
Yeah.
lot of situations. And
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, it was a very interesting conference, and right on the heels of that, obviously,
wait, what did you think of it? You didn't say anything. You just let me go ham over here. Where's those notes?
it's always interesting to hear. It's down here.
Okay.
It's always interesting to hear what they have to say. And then I use my filter to say, okay, how am I going to, is this helpful to our business?
Yeah.
What can we do to support our agents better? I'm glad I go. I'm glad I went. It's
Okay.
helpful for me to understand what's happening out there.
Yeah.
But it really refocuses my attention on what's really important.
Yeah.
Because to me, a lot of that is it's information and we can use it, but it also reminds me of what's really important is the people that work with our customers every day and how we can do things better to support them.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we need to be aware of these things that happen, the real RE/MAX, obviously that affects something, obviously, congratulations to those companies.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of great people who work there, but it doesn't necessarily affect our day-to-day business. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
Now, the Zillow Realtor.com piece that just came out yesterday, is something that we need to be aware of.
Yep.
And because there's just so many different layers to everything that's happening. You have the MLS layer, you have the consolidation in that space, you have the conglomerates merging together.
Yeah.
And this is just all helpful pieces of information that we use to help make better decisions here locally. So
Great.
that's really for me where I took away. There wasn't really any piece that I was like, oh, we need to start doing that, or oh, this is really, this is something we need to start doing.
Yeah, and I also feel like some of the speakers up there and some of the other panelists that weren't necessarily leading, a Fortune 500, a publicly traded company. They
Right.
worked for an MLS, or they were, what's the other one we heard from? There was a little tech panel.
Yes.
A
And
couple
an
of tech
agent panel.
panels and an
Mhm.
agent panel,
Yep,
yeah.
right.
So outside of those, like they almost were telling everybody in the room that nothing's moving fast enough.
Right.
Everything is too slow. None of y'all are moving fast enough. What is taking you so long?
Yeah.
You're the reason that nothing's evolving. Like that was just kind of the undercurrent
Right.
of stuff that was happening. And then in contrast, then we go to the Realty Alliance conference, and I know we're gonna talk about that one in a second, but that one is a room of actual owner-operators, people, having the lights turned on, teaching classes, making decisions for regional-sized companies. Some of them are quite much larger than ours, and then
Absolutely.
there's a few that are in the middle, where I think we're right in the middle,
We
of
are.
where I would say where the size of those companies from a closed volume standpoint. And so you get in a room with owner-operators, and they are like, nope, business as usual, and it's actually okay, we're moving as slow as we are, and actually we don't even want to talk about any technology. It's no. So I feel like in a matter of 10 days, we saw both arguments or both trains of thought of, you're not moving fast enough, go faster, go faster, go faster, you're the reason that,
Yeah.
everything is as bad as it is.
Right.
To this side, to we never need to change, don't make us learn how to turn on a computer. Like, it was really like both ends of the spectrum.
For sure.
And I really think those two thought processes open us up to at least, us to be able to start going, we're going to be somewhere in the middle of all of that.
Yep.
And how we get there, how do we bring this one down so we're not going, we don't have to race.
Right.
But let's go at a comfortable attack pace for all of you Orange Theory people. Let's go at a comfortable attack pace. And then let's make sure that, we're being open-minded to the ways that things can be done, not the ways that they've always been done.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's such an important tip, especially with how fast technology is evolving. I think, at the Realty Alliance, we did talk a lot about AI. We did talk a lot about, we heard from speakers that brought in all sorts of, AI companies. And, I know it's been a buzzword for a little while. We obviously use some AI enhanced pieces here at the company, and I know our marketing department uses it, obviously tech uses it. I know a lot of us use it on a daily basis to do one thing or another. But looking forward to what's coming, do you have any sort of pie in the sky things that, we should be looking at as far as AI goes?
Well, I think, AI is the buzzword
Of course.
that everybody's using.
Yeah.
But I think that on the brokerage side, there's a real opportunity for us to find some learned language models that will fit within our scope of work, how we want to operate, not how we operate.
Right.
That will take an evolution with tech, and it takes an evolution with our minds
Yes.
too.
Mindset, skill set.
Yes, to let it do the work, trust that it's going to do the work.
Right.
We've absolutely set through a couple of demos with a product that we're pretty excited about. We've got a lot of things that need to happen to get there, but if we're able to do that, then our admin team and some of the other people that work John R. Woods to support the agents can support the agents in a different way than they currently are now. And that just means they're excited to come to work. The agents notice the difference in the speed in which in which John R. Woods can work for them and support them. And also it becomes less friction. There's not as much friction in working with us.
Right.
We've got to have that agent experience be the most frictionless, easiest as possible.
Right.
When I was telling you about booking those plane flights when we were out of town?
Yeah.
And I was trying to do it from my phone, and my credit card was being done because it thought I was, fraud.
Yeah.
I wasn't. But what happened was, after I chose the flights, I still had to click 10 times before I was able to reserve a flight, before I actually got to the pay to find out for the decline for fraud. So that entire experience for me to book those flights was almost 30 minutes with 10 clicks after I'd already selected my flights to request. And I couldn't help but go, if this wasn't the only flight to and from this destination, I would have gone to another platform to reserve to get these flights.
Yeah.
And I just think about that, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, at John R. Wood, I mean, brokerage in general, maybe agents in their own business, are there ways that you can remove how many clicks, how many things your customer, in our case the agents, have to do in order to do business with us?
Right.
Now, click removal doesn't happen overnight.
Wait, you can't just flip a switch and they're all gone?
No, it doesn't happen, as fast as I want it to, like this. But step one is awareing that it takes 10 clicks to get there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, which ones can we remove? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, it's all in the same vein, and our learned language models will give us the opportunity to do that.
Right, yeah. Which is really exciting. I mean, I think that, for a long time, the brokerage space doesn't, and we're human, we don't like change.
No.
Some of us really do and others don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the culmination of what's happened over the years. We had, COVID, which, was very scary for a lot of people. And it really absorbed, it really fast forwarded a lot of things for us. We have an enormous amount of, venture capital money being poured into our space right now. And it's just this race to the technology evolution, which is another piece of overwhelmingness for agents. And then we have the lawsuits. I mean, it's been a really, really, really challenging few years in the business.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we honor that and we let people know that we see that. It is May, and so it is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And so there are some pieces that are being, shared with our wonderful John R. Wood family. So talk to me about, what that means to you and how you support yourself to make sure you're ready to support everyone else.
So mental health is incredibly important to me and really relevant to me. I've shared in the past that I have not been very mentally healthy in the past, and I think if somebody were to potentially hear my inner dialogue, they would go, Anna Marie, how do you get out of bed every day? Like, I'm so hard on myself. I don't know if that's athletics or my Southern mother. I don't know what the genesis was of that. I just know that I would never talk to anybody else the way I talk to myself.
Yeah.
And so it is something that I have to constantly be aware of when I'm going down that talk track. I have to bring myself back. And so everything I'm sharing this month as far as mental health as awareness is because I personally walked through it, and it's something that I struggle with. Is making sure that I'm talking nicely to myself.
Right.
Because it gets loud in there sometimes. And I want it to be loud positive, not loud negative,
Yeah.
So I'm that stinking thinking.
I've never that
You've
stinking.
never heard stinking thinking?
No.
I just love all these new things I can bring to John R. Wood.
I hear you. Yes, it's it is so important to take care of yourself.
Well, it is, and I think, and everybody wants to put on this brave front and brave face, and you see the highlights on social media that they're doing great and they're chasing, but you have no idea how they're, the duck, what is it that they do?
The way
swim, they
that everything
paddle.
is so calm on the top and the feet are just going crazy.
You see this stuff on social media that talks about, you don't know what everybody has experienced leading up to a conversation that you had or an interaction that you had, an encounter that you had with somebody that wasn't positive.
Right.
You don't know what led them up there. And so giving people grace, I know I have extend a lot more grace than I used to once I became aware of maybe it's me and what's happening in the way I'm talking to myself leading up to this.
Right.
It's not them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very challenging thing. I know we've had some heartbreak in the Naples area recently, and it just highlights the importance of checking in on people and making sure they're doing okay. And even if they say they're okay, you might want to double check again. So it's been a really, really tough time around here recently.
And it's also okay to say you're not okay.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
We carry so much emotion, and we're just expect to stay neutral through all of it, and we just absorb all of the energy from our clients, all of the energy from the lender, all of the energy from the other agent, and nurses and psychologists and people who are in professions that they deal with emotions and that mental space. They have debrief opportunities at the end of the day. They have debrief opportunities at the end of the week where they get to talk out everything that they felt that week. And we don't. We just absorb it and carry it into dinner, carry it into conversations with our significant others, our kids, take it into sleep.
Right.
I hope you're getting sleep. And then wake up the next day and you haven't ever been able to just unload or dump everything that's in your head or everything that you've absorbed, and figuring out a way that you can do that either with a broker or with another agent, with your significant other, or it can be a sheet of paper. I've talked a lot about dumping. Just get out of your head everything that's in there, and it doesn't have to be journal format. It can be You know, if you're a doodler, it can be all your doodles around the page. It's just that action of getting it from here on paper is incredibly lethargic, not just from a mind mapping standpoint, how do I want to organize my day, let me organize my thoughts, but it's unbelievably cathartic because you've gotten it out of your system versus just holding on to it and letting it fester and burn and grow. And then it oozes out in a manner that you might not be proud of the way you respond to somebody, or you just sleep for 4 days, or you go, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's not because you don't find joy in the work, it's because you haven't given yourself the outlet to get the break and get the rest that you need. I think most agents operate, you know, the battery. I think most agents operate like with 20% battery all the time.
Yep. And then they get sick, or then they need to take some time away.
That's too loud.
Yep.
Was it any of it in the last thing I said?
No.
Good.
Hello everyone at John R. Wood. This is Peter Parnick. I'll be your ninja guide for our installation at the beginning of June. You know, you might be wondering, should I go to an installation? Here's what we know. We've had 3 of the most difficult low transaction years in the last 3 years after the pandemic, and I think a wave is coming. We have 2 choices. We can just ride the wave, or we can crush it. If you're not sure if your skills, if your database, if everything is where it needs to be, the best investment you can make is in yourself. Wouldn't it be interesting if you spent $1,000 and all of a sudden you got $50,000 back from that because you created 2 or 3 transactions that you might not have otherwise created? I don't know about you, but if I were to bet $1,000 and get a $50,000 investment, I'd put money on that all day long. I look forward to seeing you and having you join us. And look at this as an investment in yourself, which is the best place you can invest.
Retire. Okay.
So what do you do for your mental health?
So a few years ago, I found myself not as healthy as I would have liked to have been. So I actually hired a coach. And I found that I am a recovering people pleaser, and I would.
Hello, Corey.
But seriously, I mean, you know, my whole life it was, you know, do this for this person, do this for this person, and everything's good. And so, and you know, I mean, that's just how I was raised. So, you know, learning that no is a complete sentence took me a very long time. And you know, I would take everything in from the outside, and then you know, I would get home, and I'm not proud of this, but I would probably let it go on my kids. And I would feel bad, and then I would go and I would apologize, and I would cry with them, and it just was, I was like, this is not right. I shouldn't be doing this, especially to, you know, the people that I'm, you know, nurturing to grow up. And so my coach really helped me. You know, we meet once a week and we have conversations, and she started making me name the feelings that I was having, because that's not something that I, you know, I just ignored everything and, you know, just sweep it under the rug. But as I learned from a friend not that long ago, she would say to me, Corey, everything that gets swept under the rug eventually stinks. And I thought, boy, that is really true. So, you know, just starting to, you know, talk through things and name what I'm feeling has been really helpful. And, you know, when I wouldn't do something in a timely manner, I would feel bad, and then it would make me procrastinate even more. And it was just this vicious cycle of, you know, beating myself up over things that not everybody can be Superman or Superwoman all the time. So that is, I really had to learn that I, you know, I have to take care of myself. And, you know, and making sure that my kids are seeing me take care of myself. So they know that I'm out walking in front of the house with the dogs, or, you know, in the morning or at night. You know, I do Qigong every morning.
Can you say that again?
Qigong.
And you spell that?
Chigong.
Okay.
It's obviously an Eastern practice, and it's just about, so Qi is energy, and so it's just about moving the energy throughout your body. This, as Mike tells me, this is a very Corey thing, but it has been hugely helpful, especially if you get up in the morning and you're a little stiff. There's just short little videos. You just move your body in a good way. You get the blood flowing, the good energy going.
Does it clear out your chakras too?
You better believe it.
I don't even know if I had chakras, but my yours are clear.
Mine are very clear. But I love it, and it has changed my life.
Okay.
So you know, and I'm not afraid to say it. I like that You know, I swim, I spend quality time with my family, and I just make sure that I'm being aware of the things that I'm feeling and know the things that I need to do. And, you know, I was a really big procrastinator on things that I thought were hard. And I never realized until not that long ago that was just making it harder.
Yep.
So you just have to have the conversation closer. You have to. And so those have been ways that I've helped myself make sure that I'm good. And I've gotten really good about saying, you know, no, I can't do that, or no, I can't help you. And that has really, really helped me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about having hard conversations, because I think one of the things that keeps an agent close to that burnout spot is them delaying having what they think is going to be a hard conversation, or it might just flat out be a hard conversation.
Right.
Mr. and Ms. Seller, we're not getting in the showings. We've been on the market for 60 days. The houses around us that have sold at this price. We're at this price. It's time to do a price reduction. You know,
Right.
just having the confidence to go ahead and have that conversation, because they're mulling it over.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting heavier and heavier and heavier the longer they hold it.
Right.
And so I'm glad you brought that up about having hard conversations. And sometimes the conversation isn't a price reduction. It's, I'm not the agent for you.
Right.
And it is not easy to, as they say, fire a seller or fire a buyer. Like it is not easy. You'll see these big names and these high producing agents like, I fired them. They didn't make that choice lightly.
Right.
And if they did, they had a lot of practice leading up to it. It wasn't that their first one was like, I'm done with you.
Right.
You know? So anyway.
Yeah. No, for sure, absolutely. And you know, I'm so proud of the staff and the team that we have now, because we've got this evolution of coaches coming. And you know, we have such amazing people who will sit and help you have these conversations. You know, reach out to your manager, reach out to your staff, reach out to any one of us, and we will, you know, I hate the term role play, but have conversations with you about that. You know, use us. We'll bounce things back and forth on you.
Absolutely.
So we want to make that as easy as possible for you, and the only way to make it easy is to do the reps.